What's up, everyone? We are here in the Jurassic room, and welcome to yet another episode of Dinosaurs of the Week, where all of you, the fans, get to pick what is showcased in each week's episode. And like I always say, you can see that I got a lot of awesome picks once again, so I'll be picking 10 of my favorites to showcase for this week's episode. So let's go ahead and see what made this week's list. To kick off this week's episode, we've got a suggestion right here from Chris Wadsworth for the Jurassic World Epic Attack / Attack in Spinosaurus, and what an awesome figure this is. And this is probably one of my top figures that came out in all of 2024. I absolutely love the Spinosaurus, and I think this sculpt and paint job and just whole look of this figure is really, really sweet, as all of you guys can see. Now when we look at the back of the box, we get a good look at our Spinosaurus. Now you can lift its arm to slash and chomp, and its multiple activation areas that we'll go ahead and check out now. So you can see you can lift its arm to get some chomping and some awesome sound effects. Then we can also click here. And then the coolest feature right here. Isn't that so sweet, guys? So this figure is not only super epic, but it's one that I absolutely love having in my collection, and it is still available in stores to this day. So if any of you haven't picked this one up yet, I would highly recommend it. So the next suggestion we have right here is from Captain Kaiju for the original Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom Real Feel Mosasaurus. And as all of you can see, what an iconic and awesome toy. It's got that soft rubber skin that everyone knows and loves. And this figure is just massive, 71 centimeters long or 28 inches. Now, it doesn't look super big in the package, but that's only because it's from the torso here. Everything else, you've got to add on the pieces, which is really, really cool. Now, when we look at the back of the box, look at our Mosasaurus. And again, a little window right here for you to feel the real feel textured skin, which is pretty awesome, if I'm being honest. And I do love the packaging on this original Mosasaurus toy. I love how the Mosasaurus is splashing out of the water, and you've got the shark right here for it jumping up to catch its lunch, which is super, super sweet. So while they did remake this toy quite a few times, they repackaged it, repainted it, did all kinds of things with it, I still think this initial release is the coolest of the bunch. Now, this next suggestion we have right here is from Ash Edits for the Jurassic World Legacy Collection Mamenchisaurus, and this is one of the biggest Jurassic World toys we ever got. Look at this, 49 inches long. I mean, this thing is absolutely massive, and the artwork on the box is gorgeous. Look at the two Mamenchisauruses, and then we've got our little person riding the motorcycle in the middle, just like in the Lost World Jurassic Park, which is really, really cool. Now, when we look at the back of the box, it's just another good look of almost the same image with the two Mamenchisauruses, which is really, really sweet. But again, anytime Mattel makes these different sauropod figures, they are super, super cool just due to their sheer size and the way that they scale up with the rest of the toys from the Mattel line. So every time we get a new sauropod, I get really excited to add it to my collection, and this is one of those ones that I'm very happy to have. Now we've got a suggestion right here from Diego Lopez for the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Primal Attack Soundstrike Cryolophosaurus, and what a sweet looking figure this one is. I just love this species with this like little quill or frill or whatever you want to call it on the top of the head. I think it looks really unique and makes this figure stand out, and there are two different colorways, but this is the darker, maybe a little bit more realistic looking colorway, which I do really like. Now when we look at the back of the box, we get another good look at our Cryolophosaurus and its thrashing action and its head strike. So we can go ahead and check those out. So we can get thrashing action, as y'all can see, and then a little bit of a head strike too. So it basically can just go left, right, up, and down. And then, of course, has some pretty sweet sound effects. But like I always say, I love when Mattel makes these different species of dinosaurs that I've never really heard of. And this was another one that is really sweet to have in your collection. Next, we have a suggestion from Wrld Dinosaur, and by the way, your name is actually pretty funny, but you suggested the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom Roarvor's Triceratops, and this is the first Triceratops toy that we got from Mattel, and while they use this exact same sculpt over and over and over again for repaints, I do think that this first version right here is probably the best one because it is the most realistic paint job in my opinion, so I think it looks pretty nice, and I'm not complaining because I do think the sculpt is pretty good, so them using it over and over is kind of justifiable. Now when we look at the back of the box, we get another good look at our Triceratops and how you can press the button for sound and head ramming action. I'm not sure if the sounds are gonna still work since this toy is from 2019 and Mattel's known for the batteries not working, but we are going to try. Oh, we got a little bit of juice there, but I think that's just about all we're gonna get. But as you can see, you would get some sound effects and some head striking action, which is pretty cool. And again, this is the OG Mattel Triceratops, so it makes it a little bit more special. Now we've got some amber collections suggested by George Lee, and this is the male Velociraptor from Jurassic Park 3, and any of you that know me know that the Velociraptor is my favorite dinosaur in the franchise, and the male Velociraptor from Jurassic Park 3 is my favorite of all the Velociraptors, so I really have a soft spot for any iteration that they make of the male JP3 Velociraptor, and this one is just sweet because we get it in a bigger scale with a little bit more articulation than normal, and a little bit more detail and a cool paint job, which is always really sweet for a toy like this. Now when we look at the back of the box, we get a look at our male Velociraptor and a little bit of a description about it, which is pretty cool. But again, looking at this figure, this thing is super sweet. The colorations are awesome, the sculpt is great, and the scale is really cool. It's kind of a shame that the Amber collection ended up leaving us, but it did get replaced with the Hammond collection, which I do think is far superior, but this still is a fun and awesome and unique figure to have in anyone's collection. All right, so this next suggestion right here is from Franklin for the Jurassic World Dino Rivals Mega Dual Attack Amargasaurus, and this is one of the more rare Jurassic World Mattel figures that ever got released, and it's also a really sweet one. I love the sculpt, I love the spines or the sails or whatever you want to call it that's going down the back, and I love the coloration. It is just such a unique toy. And then looking at the back of the box, we get another good look at the Amargasaurus. It's super tail strike, it's super head strike, and it's collector card that it comes with, just like the rest of the dinosaurs in the Dino Rivals toy line have. But again, let's go ahead and check out some of those cool features. So we got a button right here that gets some tail strike going, and then we've gotten a button right here that gets some head strike going, which is also really cool. And again, I was saying this is one of the more rare Jurassic World Mattel figures, so any of you that want to add one of these to your collection, it's going to be a little bit more of a difficult task, and it's probably going to cost a bit of a pretty penny. When this one released, I found it at Walmart one time after searching many Walmarts and never saw it again, so therefore it is definitely a rare figure and one that's pretty difficult to get into our collections. So now this next suggestion right here is from Dino Kid for the Jurassic World Dino Trackers Track and Attack Indoraptor. And this is another pretty cool figure, if I'm being honest. It's a little bit different than some of the other Indoraptors we got because the skin is shiny and it's almost a bluish black instead of a straight black like from the movie. So while it's not quite as accurate to the movie, it is just a different look and a different take on it. So I still think it's pretty cool. And it also comes with some awesome capture gear or tracking gear, which is pretty sweet. Now when we look at the back of the box, we get another good look at our Indoraptor. It's glowing red eyes, how you can lift the arms for slashing and chopping action, and it's tracking gear included. So why don't we go ahead and check out some of those features. Oh, those glowing eyes are sweet. Really loving that. And then of course you can lift the arms to get some more action. So my favorite part about this Indoraptor is probably those glowing red eyes. I just think that is a really cool feature for a menacing creature like the Indoraptor. Now, this suggestion right here came from Peter Chavez for the Jurassic World Epic Attack Tyrannosaurus Rex versus Pachycephalosaurus. And talking about rare Jurassic World toys, this was one of the hardest ones for me to get into my collection. Not only did this not release in America, but it didn't release in most parts of the world. I think it only released in some parts of South America and some parts of Europe. So man, am I happy to get this thing into my collection. But it is pretty cool. We get a Pachycephalosaurus right here and a Junior T-Rex, which are both pretty cool to look at. Then when you look at the back of the box, you get a better look at both of these figures, which is pretty sweet. And I'm pretty sure this got released in some sort of Asia as well, as you can see with the writing. But now let's go ahead and check out some of those Epic Attack features. While this may not be the craziest looking set there's ever been, it is extremely rare, so it's one that I'm super happy to have here in the collection with me. Now, the final suggestion we have for this week's video is from Flask for the Jurassic World Chaos Theory Epic Evolution Strike Attack Gastonia. And what an interesting looking species this is. It's some sort of ankylosaurid with all of its spikes and armor on its back, but it's got this really cool white and grayish paint job, which I think makes it look striking and very unique, as all of you can see. Makes it a pretty fun little figure. Now, when we look at the back of the box, we get another good look at our Gastonia and its tail striking action. So why don't we go ahead and check that out. So you can push these two spines in right here and get that tail to do some striking action so that it can attack some of the other dinosaurs that you have it battling. But again, another little fun figure right here, and one that is very nice to have in your collection, and you can still find this one on store shelves if any of you are interested in picking up this fun little figure. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dinosaurs of the Week. If you did not get featured in this week's episode and would like a chance to be featured in next week's episode, then make sure you let me know down in the comments below. Want to see more awesome Jurassic content? Then hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you don't miss any of my content. Also, check me out on Instagram and join my Discord server for so much more Jurassic fun. The links to everything will be in the description below. Check out more awesome Jurassic videos here.